Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to do something a little different. We're starting with just a single clue from an archaeological report, and we're going to see how it helps us unravel how one ancient invention didn't just change the world, it literally built it.
All right, so let's jump right in. Our whole investigation kicks off with just one clue, something that was flagged by a modern artifact identification system. So the big question for us is, what story is this one ancient object actually trying to tell us?
And here it is, our first big piece of evidence. The system is, well, it's super confident. We're talking 94.45% sure that what it's looking at is an alloy. I mean, look at the other options. A hunting tool, pottery, they're barely even on the radar. So what on earth is an alloy? And why does this one classification matter so much?
You see, that 94.45% confidence, it isn't just some random number. It's our first major clue. It's basically a giant flashing signpost, pointing us straight to this pivotal moment in human history. The moment we stopped just, finding materials and started inventing them. Just think about that for a second. An alloy isn't something you can just dig out of the ground. It has to be made. It's an invention. It's ancient chemistry, really. A recipe that was probably passed down from one generation to the next. It shows a conscious, deliberate decision to engineer a better world.
So yeah, this invention, it was so much more than just a new tool. It was a whole new category of substance. You could even say it was humanity's very first high-tech material. Pretty amazing when you think about it.
And this idea was, absolutely revolutionary. For the first time ever, early humans weren't stuck with the properties of materials they could just find lying around, like stone or wood. Now they could actually create custom materials tailored for a specific job. This just unlocked a whole new world of possibilities.
And the very first great recipe to come out of this was for bronze. It's a pretty simple idea, right? You start with copper, which is a fairly soft metal, but then you add just a little bit of tin. We're talking about 10% or so. And bam, you create something completely new. The result is bronze. It's harder, it's stronger, and it's way easier to cast into all sorts of complex shapes. It really is like ancient alchemy.
And this just shows you the huge practical advantage. All of a sudden, you could go way beyond stone tools, which were brittle and super hard to shape. Bronze meant stronger axes to clear forests, more reliable plows for farming, and of course, sharper, much more durable swords for fighting. It was a total game changer.
So this wasn't just some small improvement. No way. This invention was so profound, so completely transformative, that it literally gave its name to an entire era of human history. The Bronze Age, kicking off around 3300 BCE, is that moment when you can say humanity really started to master the material world. And listen, making bronze was not simple. It took a whole chain of pretty advanced skills. First, you had to have smelting to get the metal out of the raw ore. Then you needed complex methods like lost wax casting if you wanted to make intricate hollow shapes. And then finally, you had hammering and annealing, this really precise process of heating and cooling to shape and harden the thing. This wasn't something just anyone could do. This was highly specialized knowledge.
But the impact of this new material, it went way, way beyond just a single village or a single new tool. The quest for bronze didn't just create better stuff, it fundamentally rewired the entire ancient world. Okay, so to put all this in perspective, the Bronze Age wasn't just happening in some kind of vacuum. It kicks off around 3300 BCE, which is right around the same time humans invented writing. Think about that. It was all part of this incredible explosion of human ingenuity that just a few centuries later would lead to unbelievable feats like the Great Pyramid of Giza. It was like humanity was giving itself a massive operating system upgrade.
And here's the real kicker. It's a simple fact of geology, but it had massive world-changing consequences. The two key ingredients you need for bronze, copper and especially tin, are almost never found in the same place. So that creates a huge problem, right? But it also creates a revolutionary opportunity. Because if you wanted to make bronze, you had no choice. You had to trade.
And that need for resources is what sparked the creation of these huge international trade networks. We're talking civilizations in the Near East, the Aegean, the Indus Valley, all the way to China. They all became part of this incredible interconnected system. And they weren't just exchanging metals. They were trading ideas, technology, and culture across thousands and thousands of miles.
So you might be wondering, how do we actually know all of this? Well, this whole story isn't just a theory. It's being pieced together right now from actual evidence on the ground. So let's zoom in a bit to the region that was mentioned in our source report. That's Tamil Nadu in southern India, where archaeologists are literally unearthing tangible proof of this incredible technological legacy. The report we started with points to 3 pretty incredible sites in this region, Tamil Nadu. And each one tells a different piece of the puzzle, from these big urban centers to sites that have direct, hands-on evidence of advanced metalworking.
All right, first up, let's look at Keezhadi. Here, archaeologists have found all this evidence of a major urban settlement. We're talking inscribed pottery, complex brick buildings, even sophisticated water management systems. This is exactly the kind of complex, organized society that a tech revolution like metallurgy helps to build and sustain.
And then there's Adichanallur. And folks, this is where we find the smoking gun. Right there among the burial urns and gold diadems, archaeologists have dug up daggers, swords, and other objects, and they're made of bronze and iron. This is it. This is the direct, physical proof of the very legacy we've been talking about. A direct link in that long technological chain.
So the big takeaway here is that these sites, they provide the ground truth. They're what transformed the huge story of the Bronze Age from just some abstract idea in a history book into a tangible, real history. A story about real people and real innovation that's quite literally buried right under our feet.
And all this leaves us with a really fascinating thought, doesn't it? If a simple mix of copper and tin could spark global trade routes, build entire cities, and define an entire era, what are the materials that are reshaping our world today? From the silicon in our computer chips to the graphene in our labs, our own world is constantly being forged and reforged by the next great material invention.